If you're a beginner in sales, please click off this video. I promise you it is not for you. The concepts that are covered in here are so insanely advanced that I could say this with full faith and confidence that I promise you this will be the most advanced sales training that you have seen, at least on YouTube or anything in the public space. So if you're a beginner, just jump off. This will not be for you. And if you're new to the channel, my name is Anas. I've been in the sales world for over 15 years in the door-to-door, B2B, high-ticket space. I've done hundreds of thousands of door knocks, cold calls, thousands of hours of call reviews, hundreds of thousands of dollars that I've invested into myself to learn from the world's best in sales, psychology, communication, leadership, high performance, so much of that. And I've been blessed to coach thousands of people along in my journey. And to give you a little bit of context of what you're about to walk into, as it might not be what you're expecting. We're about to jump into a live call review that I did with a gentleman named Tony. I had never met him up until this point. He was actively getting coaching, and I happened to have a call cancellation at the same time that he was looking for help. So we actually just hopped on. I had a friend connect us through. So meeting him for the first time on Zoom. He's extremely experienced. He's been trained by Jeremy Miner, Cole Gordon. He spent tens of thousands of dollars getting sales coaching. He's grown his agency to over $100,000 per month. He's built his own internal sales team. So he's by no means an amateur. He's an absolute weapon in his space. And what you're going to see is raw, unfiltered, straight to the chase sales coaching, me going over his call review and sharing some advanced strategies from the Never Be Closing sales system. And I promise you, if you make it through, this will be easily one of the most transformational sales trainings that you will ever do, because it won't just work on your mindset. You will learn some ninja strategies, regardless of what industry, what offer, or what you do in the journey. So I'm excited to have you jump on, and I'd love to hear your takeaways in the comments. So I'm just going to stop you. Okay, listen, you're buying into a belief before you even into this, that your belief is pre-framing the whole thing.
That's a great point.
Because Tony, have you not had fucking legendary contractors?
On my Zoom?
Yeah. Have you had one good contractor in the past?
Of course, of course.
Of course. Okay. So I'm like, but you're telling me they're all bad. They're all with tech. They're already like, you're literally, if you want to write one statement here before we even go into the sales stuff, you get to keep the limitations that you fight for. And before we continue, dude, I need you to have something that you're taking notes with, and don't bank on your note taker.
Let me see. I actually don't have.
So if John can also hear me, notice how I'm holding the frame. Like when I'm telling, guess what? This is called being a coach. I'm challenging you, like very early up front, right? I'm like, dude, why are we here? You're like saying, let me outsource my thinking. My AI is here. It's going to tell me everything magical. I'm like, bro, use your brain. Be here with me. Take some notes.
Tony.
Oh, is this too much for a Friday?
No, bro, we're just getting started today.
I'm like, we haven't even gotten into the sale.
A few moments later.
Last piece of paper, so it won't affect it. Hopefully this
Okay.
Oh, I have a piece of paper.
Good. Okay. So just to simplify, I'm not going to tell you how to take notes, but you don't have to write everything verbatim, but just capture the key insight, right? Like it could be as simple as hold the frame or challenge the prospect, like little, or law of reciprocity, right? So when you go back, because I know you're an incredible, audacious, hungry motherfucker, and that's why you're here. You're like, dude, I'm ready to do the work. I'm assuming that you're like, I want to be the best of the best in this game.
Oh, of course.
Okay, 100%. Okay, that's why we're here. Okay, so I'm like, I already know that that's a thing. So I'm like, part of it is, I'm like, you have the AI, you have all that kind of stuff, right? Now, this is your added like manifesto that you're like, did I capture all the points that I need to go back and review?
Yeah.
You follow? So think of less about verbatim and just capturing the little insights so you can go back to and reference it, and you can search it and all that kind of stuff. Okay.
Sure. Fuck, bro, that's so true, bro. I've been buying to that belief for so long. Oh my god, that was
dude. It was so bad. Like
really bad.
Like, so your first breakthrough here, Tony, is you have to divorce all these beliefs that you have. So the statement I actually want you to write is, you can write it in singular. I get to keep the limitations that I fight for. And after you write that, I'll let it echo in.
Bro, fuck, that's so true. Oh my god.
Just let that process. Is it hitting you? So you're like fighting with me to be like, Anas, you don't understand. So the minute I hear that, I hear fixed mindset, limited mindset, contracted view, that your frame of the world, you're only going to see this. And because your internal doesn't want to make you a liar, you're going to have a self-fulfilling prophecy. So you're always going to go and validate that. You're literally, no matter what, subconsciously, how you communicate, your tone, your physical pattern, all of that is going to literally self-sabotage you to get the same results so you can be in alignment and congruence with what your inner beliefs are.
No, that was great.
So legit, the sale is already like technically in my world is already like destroyed just here, just because of how you're pre-frame going into the call. Okay, so let's jump into this.
Did you get bored watching the video, Tony?
No, it's pretty much a self-explanatory.
Yeah. Is there anything that kind of like resonate with you well in that video?
Yeah.
What is it?
I mean, I like the way that it's said about you know, because we do spend a lot of money on putting away with other leads.
By the way, if you want me,
like interest lists and stuff.
Yeah.
And not only that, but we don't get the job that we really wish that we did get.
Yeah.
So, kind of like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I know you talked to one of my colleagues, Alex.
Pause. Okay, dude, there was so much here that you just grazed over. Okay, so before even listening to what you respond, what I noticed is I'm like, Tony, you're not in the sale. You're in your script. Because all you did is you just moved them along to the next question. Do you understand what I mean? But like you literally, I'm like, brother, okay, let me back it up. Because I'm assuming, I'm just going to listen to the second question and I'll show you. You just you're following the script.
Yeah.
The purpose of the script is not for you to follow the script. If you're brand new and you're like, yo, I'm first day selling, great, you need the script to have some structure. The purpose of the script is so you forget the script. And I know it sounds nuts. It's like if you think about like the bowling lane, you could still go in between it and you just want to navigate back into it. Okay. And the presence that you have to have, because I would go deep on just a couple of responses here. So I'll go back and I'll show you what I mean.
Already? I think. Well, I mean, if it works for you, we can just if you open to it, is it cool that if I turn off my camera too? Because I don't have to look at myself like an hour.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, so we can do that. But you can say like naturally, because I know I think you watched the video already, right?
Yeah.
Did you get bored watching the video, Tony?
No, it's pretty much a self-explanatory. So
Yeah. Is there anything that kind of like resonate with you well in that video?
Yeah.
What is it?
I mean, I like the way that it's said about you know, because we do spend a lot of money on putting away with.
First off, what is a lot of money? Okay. So when I'm taking the sales call, because I can't see what you're doing, right away, first thing, I'm like, he said a lot of money. I'm like, what is that? And I know you'll come back to it, but I need you to realize something, because I need him to learn that we're going to go deep and we're not going to stay in the surface shit. Because when you move the process, you stayed so surface. He just said some verbal stuff and you're like, okay, cool, sounds good. Okay, so what are you actively working towards? What if you're like, you're just going to go with the script. Okay.
With other leads, like interest lists and stuff.
Yeah.
And not only that, but we don't get the job that we really wish that we did get close with.
Yeah.
So,
if you want, no, that's make a lot of fucking sense actually.
Okay, pause 2 seconds here. Okay. What are the jobs or the ideal things that he wants? What is a lot of, he said, what I heard is I'm getting some version of what I, as the guy, what's his name?
His name is Tony.
Okay. Okay, make it complicated. Okay, I'm gonna call him John, just to be, I'll call him Bob. Okay. So Bob is like, I'm getting these leads that are not qualified that I don't like. I'm spending a lot of money. But the thing is, he even said something about the leads. He didn't say they're not qualified. He was saying there's something off about it, if you caught that.
Yeah.
So I'm already sitting here and I'm like, there's already so much to unpack here. Do you follow?
Yeah,
so
no.
I wouldn't just be like, let me go to the next question. Okay. So if we even continue a little bit.
Did I tell you the reason why?
Let's see, allow Zoom to access your camera from device.
The video already, right?
Yeah.
Did you get bored watching the video, Tony?
No, it's pretty much a self-explanatory. So
yeah. Is there anything that kind of like resonate with you well in that video?
Yeah.
What is it?
I mean, I like the way that it's said about you know, because we do spend a lot of money on putting away with other leads, like interest lists and stuff.
Yeah.
You said Angie's
not only
list.
that, but we don't get
I think he's saying interestless. I think he's
No,
talking about
Angie's.
targeting on
Angie's
Angie's.
list.
Is that a
It's type
thing?
of
Okay, cool.
lead provider they
Cool.
use.
Okay.
Yeah.
the job that we really wish that we could get.
Mm. Yeah.
So kind of like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I know you talked to one of my colleagues, Alex.
So I don't want to belabor this, but I need you to never ever
Yeah.
make this mistake again, so it's buried in your head. There's 0% chance why you should have moved on from right there. Do you get me?
No, yeah, that makes sense.
So
Yeah.
so what's something that you could have asked them here? Now that you're in hindsight's 2020, like what could you ask at this point?
Well, I would clarify. I guess like when you say a lot of money, like how you mean by it, or like how much you guys spending, or clarify the
Okay.
lead. Like when you say like
Okay.
the lead you're looking for, like what have you seen, what have you
Yeah.
noticed?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because also later, for them to own the problem, you also want to help label the problem, right? So because later on you could be like, so Tony, like I know you've mentioned, and correct me if I'm wrong here, you guys are spending, I don't know, 4, 5, 10 grand on leads, and you're just kind of not getting the right leads or whatever that you're actually looking for. And then like I'm gonna do it and ask it a little bit curious, skeptical, right? Because I want him to clarify, and if he clarifies, then we at least can both, okay, we're kind of both on the same problem, and I'll show you how to blow that fucking thing to the moon. But the point is, I'm getting ammo here, and I'm getting him to start opening up, because I don't want the whole sale to go with him in surface, just in head, giving me logical, automated bullshit responses. Okay, so the specific things you'll be like, yeah, man, okay, this is, so you guys are kind of just so we're on the same page. You guys are spending some money on the Angie's list. Obviously, some people are spending 2-5 grand a month. Some people are spending 10-20. So like when you say a lot, like how do you mean by that? Right? I could just give them a bucket, a spectrum, right? Or you could say, hey, a lot means different things to different people. Like, what specifically do you mean for you? And he's like, it's just because the minute you do it, and I'll tell you why. It's not just about, hey, let me follow process. Is if you think about levels of problems, okay, the reason you get, well, this sounds really good, let me think about it. Okay, this sounds so good, let me get back to you. I'm like, dude, most of the time the problem wasn't big enough, they didn't own it, and they didn't feel it. Because what most salespeople do is they miss the opportunity, and you ready for this, to help someone lift the problem. You want to eventually take them back to an epiphany or a memory. Okay, so I need him more talking about it so he can feel the emotional juice of the problem, not just at the time when I'm specifically going to ask him about the problem. Just listen to the distinction I just gave. I'm not just trying to bring the problem at, okay, I'm now going to talk to them about the are they problem aware and kind of figure it out. I'm like, let's bring it up, and I want to bring that in there. Okay. And the last piece is just to beat up on the part about the video camera thing. Is end of the day, for a prospect to buy, you need someone in an empowered state. And a big of things that I do in the sales process, I need to get someone empowered and in a resourceful state, right? I'm now getting into this guy. And if you want the real big problem is, he kind of feels dumb going in. He's now falling because sales is about identity change. It's about the shift in who they get to become, and less about it. It's a lot about the transformation than what they get, right? So I'm now letting this person, Bob, come in and be like, I'm dumb, I'm horrible with tech, I'm fixed into my old identity, and I'm not resourceful. So I come in, I'm in like little child mode.
This is crazy, bro.
God
damn, dude. Whoa, fuck.
Oh, damn! What
Johnny,
is
you
happening?
This is fire.
This is
So this guy's coming in, and here's the simplest question I can ask you, Tony. If right here, do you think he feels empowered
No.
or no? So I'm like, you're 3 minutes in, the sales already so negatively not in your favor.
Fuck. Such a good point.
But imagine you're that first guy who helped them with this tech shit. He's like, oh shit, I can see me for the first time. The audio sounds good. This is great.
Positive association to one thing. Positive association, yeah, to what you just told him. Damn.
Yeah. Guess what I did with you, Tony, when we started? Tony, if you didn't notice, what did I do with you? Okay. I did some labels, and I did a little NLP, and I was like, hey, what type of person did I identify you as?
You label me as someone who's hungry, driven, all that good stuff before.
And I got you to double commit
No, of course.
before we started. So how do you show it? Do you get the difference? Right? Even now, when I'm like, dude, get this food shit. You don't need to eat while you're listening to me. This is not a fucking Netflix and chill. Okay? So John, his bitch ass sandwich can wait till he's done. Okay? What you need is to be here and sit and do the work.
Okay.
Do you think a 7-figure closer is like, let me get my little sandwich? Oh, could you peel off the crust for me? Brother, you're sitting in. You're like, I'm here on this session that I'm only going to get once.
No, this is amazing. No, okay, fuck the food.
There you go. Okay, so let's keep going.
Like already? I think was it a couple days ago.
Yes.
Yeah, and I guess like what did y'all discuss that got you to want to look into this more?
So what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of expand it what I have now. I have 2 crews.
Yeah.
And I basically take about five jobs, 5 solid jobs.
And how are you currently getting the jobs?
Just from the leads from Angels List and just marketing Angels List and Home Advisor or networks.
Oh wow, so you're just buying leads at the moment?
Right.
Okay, and how many jobs are you currently doing per month with it?
5, at least 5.
Oh, you're doing 5 jobs a month.
Brother, okay, you are way too in the script.
I know.
You based on just what I shared with you so far. You're like, okay, let me now pin him and identify how much money is he making, how much value can he like. I'm like, brother.
Analysis is kind of funny because I don't even have a script, but yeah, I can see how it I don't have a script written up. I can see how in the script I don't have a fucking script. It's kind of funny.
You're like in this. You're locked in this like the script box. I know you're not physically reading a script, and I should apologize. I mean, like you're not actually being a salesperson, right? Like I would call you like you're being a typical salesperson. You're just like, I'm in the qualifications. I'm at this stage. I'm like, let's give the guy a breather to expand a little bit, because here's what happened. Okay. Like I'll show you that if you really want the psychological things, I can go fucking deep. I'll just show you one. I don't want to spend too much time on it. But right here,
what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of expand it what I have now. I have 2 crews.
Yeah.
And I basically take about 5 jobs, 5 solid jobs.
And how are you currently getting the jobs?
Just from the leads from Angels List and just marketing Angels List and Home Advisor or networks.
Okay, so pay attention to what I'm about to show you, okay? Because this is like, I promise you, no one will ever pick this up because they won't have this level of insight. Okay. See, also what I just did, but anyways, different conversation. Okay. He told you I get it from marketing, Angels. He gave you like 4 different things.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh wow, so you're just buying leads at the moment?
Right.
So you said you're just buying leads at the moment. Boom. Instantly, you broke rapport. Okay. In that exact boom, rapport is wrong. Okay. Second thing happens. Certainty and trust in you goes way the fuck down. Like your credibility, your status, boom. Because here's the thing. Most people, unless you're talking to me or someone like who's done the work, they don't have the conscious awareness to pick this up. But somewhere towards the end, they have this gut feeling. They're unsure. They're uncertain. They're a little bit hesitant. They're a little bit reluctant. They won't know why. But it's because of the little things that I'm about to even show you here. They lose trust, certainty, and you're breaking rapport with them before the sales even go. Okay? Because not only did you go, are you buying leads, which he never said the word buying leads. You dismissed the 3 other things. What you did is the most painful thing that you could do is this. Watch.
Okay, and how many jobs are you currently doing per month with it?
5, at least 5.
Oh, you're doing 5 jobs a month.
Right.
Okay, and well, with that, like, how long have you been buying leads like that for?
For years.
Oh wow, what does that look like? It could mean a lot of things.
You baited the prospect in a corner. And what I mean by that is, okay, this is a little bit tougher to explain, so I'll run it, is he wanted to talk and open up. And now you're like, let's close all these and let me box you into this one thing. Okay? So now you're closing his frame where for him to say, well, there's this, like, it takes so much mental energy and effort to go in opposition to where you're taking the conversation. So some part of them is like, this guy's not listening. This guy's not with me. And they'll go along the conversation, but they're not fully there with you. Because now they're not fully, they're like, they won't feel like you fully understand them and care about them and are part of them with them. Tony, is that clicking?
No, that makes so much sense. And
Okay.
I want to say this, it might upset you. And I'm not justifying my case because that was fucking terrible. What I just did there was terrible.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure the reason why I did it is because I came into on the triage call, like the problem that he gave the triager was Angie's List, and buying leads is terrible. So I came into a call with that mind. So I want to drive that. But again, I'm not justifying it. This is
So here's the beautiful thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Even if I was the guy setting you the thing, never trust the data I give you. Because here's the thing. I don't know how that triage call went. I don't know what they uncovered. Bro, if you brought a guy into a disempowered state, how do I know he was previously in a disempowered state, focused on the wrong things because the person was asking him leading questions, dismissing his realities, and cornering him into this thing that isn't even the main thing?
Yo. No.
Damn.
So
that's crazy.
It does not matter. I literally do not give a shit if Jeremy Minor set the call for me and he's a legend in the game. I'm still gonna be like, this guy's at ground zero. I'm starting it from zero. The information that I get from the previous person only can and should only ever serve one purpose. It is to give me possible assumptions to help me ask questions, not to box the person in. Please listen to what I just said again. I have all this data. I don't want analysis process. I don't want to also trust the quality of that data. I'm not saying the other person is bad at this. I'm like, they're not me. I'm here. I'm present. I'm a fucking A player. I'm gonna uncover so much in here that, like, on a brand new thing that maybe the other person missed. Maybe the guy had a bad day and he missed it, right? So I'm like, I'm just gonna use that data. Like, let's say you have this assumption, the presupposition about the Angie's List. I would use it to ask a question. So I'm like, hey, I know, so Bob, you mentioned that you're kind of, so watch here, literally here's how it shifts the comp. I'd be like, so Bob, you kind of mentioned you're buying leads, you have Angie's List. He said these other three things, right? He's like, you're posting that. I'm like, so like, just kind of like a rough breakdown. Is that like 90% of it is coming from here and then the other ones are a rounding error? Or like, what is the kind of distribution of how you're getting your leads look like? Do you follow? Because also at this point, I have no idea. Is 90% of his marketing efforts come from his leads, from the ads that he's buying, or the other thing? I don't know, because guess what happens, okay? Because I'll role play you possible scenarios and we won't know, but just to show you where it can go, so it could really lock in why I'm explaining this to you. So if I say, yeah, so like between, the Angie's List, the this, the that, 1, 2, 3, 4, like what's kind of the distribution with it? Is it a 50-50 split, or what does it look like? He goes, oh, well, we do 90% of our efforts here. What does that trigger you to think about? I'm like, well, why are you bothering with the other 10 if this is bringing you 90% of the efforts? Or if it's a 50-50 split, I'm like, it sounds like both are going pretty good. So how do you even know that this is the avenue that you should be chasing? Yeah. If it's a 75-25, I'm like, okay, that's a pretty decent spread. So I'm like, how'd you kind of walk me through the thinking of like how you guys determined you should go here and there, and why are you looking to beef up this one and maybe not so much spend more time on this one? Bro, just understand he can give me all the pains and horrors and the problems of why this one's there. Boom. I'm now getting a different emotional state. I'm now understanding what they've tried. Like, I already uncovered so much just from 2 questions.
Yeah. Fuck.
Do you follow?
No, this is great.
So I hope I'm trying to get you to picture it in your mind, because then if he goes, oh, it's 90-10, I'm like, so can I ask you? So if it sounds like is it 10% because it's not effective, or because it's very taxing? Like, why just 10%? And they go, oh, it's very costly, it's laborious, it's this. I'm like, okay. And like, have you guys ever thought about doing the divorce or the awkward breakup, or like because here's the thing. Why do you have 4 channel sources? That's a real question. Tony, the question, why do you have 4 channels? Why are you not all in on this thing and invest your money with us, and we're going to fucking blow this one up for you?
Because there's uncertainty there.
If he's uncertain there, that's why I'm saying, oh, now you have to be a coach. I have to hold some space for you. Now I'm coaching you. Okay. This is the NBC method coming into full practice. I'm like, I'm going to coach you, hold the space to help you process. Because guess what? I help you get clarity. What has happened? Certainty goes up. Reciprocity goes up. Everything goes up. And I now have an empowered buyer, not a confused little Sally who can't figure out how to get the fucking camera going.
No, this is crazy.
No, you're 4 minutes into the call, bro.
Oh, by the way, we're 4 minutes into the call.
Fuck.
You understand?
Yeah, that was sauce. That was crazy.
Okay. So I'm gonna give you a minute to capture an insight right now because it's easy for your mind to go, wow, this was amazing. My brain's spinning. Capture some thoughts to help you re-remind of what just clicked for you.
That was my takeaways.
To you, just on your paper, capture something because Fathom is not going to know what you're thinking. I don't know what you're thinking.
I've been taking notes.
Okay, look at that, man. Oh, we got an empowered student. We got it. Oh, look at that. Let's give it up for Tony.
No, that's great.
Are you loving this? Okay.
It's fucking amazing.
So I'm gonna hit the play again, but I just wanted to remind you back on this call, you kind of boxed them in and you started breaking the rapport, the certainty goes down, and then now you're chasing this rabbit that we don't even know if this is where we need to be. Do you follow? Because he also doesn't know what questions to ask, so he needs to be led. So he's like, I'm here, lead me, brother. Take the wheels, and then you're just like, we're going here. Okay, so we'll continue. We'll see what else we uncover. But do you already understand 4 minutes in as to why the sale didn't buy on the spot?
Yeah.
Like, do you understand? If we just shifted those first, it's not even 4 minutes. A minute of it is technical. First 3 minutes we could have shifted, and this could have been a completely different sale.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay.
Oh, you're doing 5 jobs a month.
Right.
Okay, and well, with that, like, how long have you been buying leads like that for?
Oh, for years.
Oh wow, what does that look like? It could mean a lot of things.
I mean, for me, it was at first it was it was okay. But now we're getting more competitive.
Oh wow.
Contractors in the area, so it's getting to the point that we're we want that we can't afford to have 5 jobs. We needed to have more than just 5.
Oh wow. So when you say, I know you mentioned with Angie's List, you can't compete with the people in your area.
I mean, we could, but it's hard.
Okay, pause. 2 things. He didn't ever say Angie's List is what I can't compete to with the area. You get that, right?
Good point.
Like, I need you guys. Words are very powerful. Okay, these are the subtle things subconsciously that makes someone like, I don't know what it was about them. At the end, they just have a feeling that this isn't the right thing. It's because of all these little things. And I'll give you a couple. These are minor, but I'll share.
But we don't get there. Sorry, Tony.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, so basically I mean, for me, it was at first it was it was okay. But now we're getting more.
Okay, so guys, watch this for everyone watching. Okay, listen to tonal pattern here. Okay, I'm gonna slow it down because I would have shifted where the combo goes right here. Okay.
Oh wow. What does that look like? It could mean a lot of things.
I mean, for me, it was.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That's boom. That's my insertion point right there. So everyone listen to this, okay? So he goes with
For me, it was
okay.
It was at first it was it was okay.
It was okay. Like, he didn't go, man, it was fucking great, and then now it's okay. The birth was okay. And now it's more competitive. So basically what I heard is, I was dying and barely surviving before, and now I'm going to go bankrupt.
Damn.
I'm like, you go unpack all of this right here. Listen to him a little bit more.
But now we're getting more competitive.
Oh wow.
Contractors in the area, so it's getting to the point that we're we want that we can't afford to have 5 jobs. We needed to have more than just 5.
Oh wow. So when you say, I know you mentioned.
It also sounds like you're smiling when you're responding, like you're about to hold a laugh. I don't know why I'm hearing that, but so does everyone here understand? He's like, I was in a lot of pain. Now I'm in more pain, and now you're going to shift them out of the emotion. when what you need to do here is like jump on that. So I can like I could go because he said a few years. So I could go, yeah, man, damn. Hey, I just want to commend you. So you've been going at this for 2-3 years? He goes, yeah, 3 years. I'm like, wow, good for you, man. And it sounds like things were just okay. And I'd have to use the same language. Okay. If you want a simpler approach, all you do, it's called a mirror. Okay. Right here, you just interject and you repeat back, usually the last 2 to 3 words that they said.
Yeah.
And you have to shut up. If you haven't practiced mirrors before, it's very uncomfortable if you initially do it. So I would just go, he goes, it was okay. I'm like, it was okay. And I'll tell you why I also like the camera. If it was camera was on, what I would do is I would tilt my head to the right because that signals subconsciously empathy. And I'm like, it was okay. And I would just shut up and look him dead in the eye. Because what do you think's what does he have to respond to this moment?
Open that up. Like,
Dude,
go deep.
boom! All the gates open up. 1, 3. Hey, and that's taught me 3 words. The whole gates opened up. Everything opens up here. It was okay. Right? Dude. And then they'll go, oh, well, man, when we started, it was this. And now what am I doing? I'm reliving all the pain. So now the pain comes to surface. Do you follow?
Yeah.
Wildly different rest of the sales call. And you could uncover so much data. Because the key is when you're looking at a problem, one of the most important things that you have to do in a problem is you have to quantify the duration of it. What salespeople are trained, most of them, like, oh, how long has this been going on for? I want to go, yo, bro, you've been in business for 4 years and it's never popped off. That's not what I'm going to say, but that's what I'm going to work towards. And I'm like, at what point is enough that you're like, I'm sick and tired of struggling? And I wouldn't use struggling. I would use the words that I identified earlier from them. Do you follow? So if they go, yeah, man, it's been tough. It's been a grind. I'm like, dude, man, it sounds like you've been going at this grind for like 3 or 4 years now. Do you see how empathetic I got? And when I read back their words, and sometimes when you hear it from someone else, you're like, fuck yeah, man, it's been a grind. Wildly different process. Do you follow? Like Tony, if I was trying to sell you when you brought up, hey, the 4%, this dude, I would have went deep on you there. Did you get what I mean? But
Yeah,
I'm not trying to make a sale here. So it's like just really understanding, like, okay, I need to identify duration, and it has to be clear, okay? Because outside of the duration is obviously you know about the impact, but it's also the masterful thing that'll help you guys get way deeper is you have to think about, okay, what is I'm big on cause and effect. Okay. So we're always at effect of something. Okay. So what I mean by that is if he's like, I've been struggling for 3 years, well, what was the root cause of that? Is it because he was too stubborn to get help? Is it because he thought he could do it on his own and he never decided to hire a team? Is it because he said online is bullshit, I'm going to do it manually, and he was doing paper sales or whatever, like fucking traditional advertising? What's the cost? I have no idea. What okay, go hit me.
When we get and I picked this up recently too. It's like there's like symptom and cause, right? And then like the symptom is like struggling, blah blah. But some people, they just don't know the cause. And
that
how would you deal with those people?
beautiful.
It's like they just come in like it's not enough, and I ask them like
that's what we teach right there. Right? You see that it says MBC, never be closing sales system. That's what we teach. But I'll give you the snippet because I ain't trying to hold anything back here. This is what I mean about, well, sometimes they genuinely have no idea, and that's okay. And I'm like, your biggest bang for the buck is if you can help someone uncover that. But that takes practice. So let me explain. Like, watch. If I go, so Tony, dude, it sounds like you got good mentorship in your sales process right now. You have some sick closers helping you review, and you're kind of your closing rate, I don't know if it's been going down, or have you been at the 4% for a while, or what's kind of that been looking like?
No, it's for sure been going down.
Okay. And like if you had to go back, I mean, short of like New Year's and you partying or something, um, when did that start to really make a change?
In the past 3 weeks.
Okay. So what like and what was it like before that? Like if we go back to December or November, if you could even remember.
Uh, was a lot better.
What
And
do you mean a lot better?
I
Like
was just
5%?
no. It was like a lot more. It's I would say like probably overall like 35-40%. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So the good thing is we know you can close. Okay. So I just want to confirm that because sometimes people are like, dude, 6% to 4%, Um, so I mean, is 35, is this the first time you've kind of jumped from 35 down to 4 or 5%?
Yeah, it's like the first time.
Okay. So generally with these kind of things, there's, sometimes people will go and watch. Now, what I'll do personally as an ask, because I'm trained, I'll attack the false beliefs because I need to help reframe you onto something that makes sense and supports the narrative, assuming it's ethical and right. So here's what I mean. I'm like, yeah, sometimes people, they're like, it's so funny. Like kind of the average sales folks or people who are just not that committed. And I'll use some of the labels that I gave you earlier. Usually they'll be like, yeah, the leads are bad, or they'll go, oh, it's just the New Year's, people aren't buying, oh, Facebook's changing the algorithm. And like a lot of times they just go and point to all these external things. And it's so crazy because obviously this as as a striver, someone always doubling down on your craft, and I appreciate that's why we're here. It's like I'm like, well, the minute they forfeit their power into all this kind of stuff, they're saying, well, it's out of my control, can't do anything. Well, I guess I'll be at 4% forever. So usually, it's easy. It's always like the easy thing to point out to all the external things, and sometimes we just need that reminder of like, okay, so obviously some stuff's changed. And I mean, I should probably ask you, Tony, like if you had to like really squeeze your head on it, and think about it, like what's been a little bit different? Maybe what's something that you used to do that maybe you haven't been doing as much in the last 3 weeks, or something that you stopped or started? Like what's kind of changed in your world?
I think
Yeah.
my actual sales call
Hmm.
got better, but
Sorry.
I think my sales call have actually gotten better, but
Okay.
maybe
Hmm.
I'm not treating these leads correctly because the channel is different. So maybe like
Okay.
I feel
So
like the
what do
call
you
is
mean?
better, but I'm not too sure.
What do you mean treating the leads better?
So back then we were closing a lot of people from cold texting. I think some was reactivation, and here are from pay ads. So it's really cold, like extreme fucking cold traffic.
Hmm.
And my
And
call, I think my call is I follow the same framework back then until now. I
okay.
don't think that much has changed, but
Yeah.
I guess I do like I set more frame, like trying to pre-handle more objection now better before.
Okay.
But the biggest change was for sure like the channel, and I could be treating these leads completely wrong. So that's my
Okay.
who knows?
So what would treating it like right look like?
I wouldn't know. Maybe
I mean, you're a bright guy, Tony.
okay, maybe
And let me ask you this: you know other people in a similar industry selling and doing different things than you?
uh
You know one other person that sells similar to what you guys sell? Do you know one other person in the high
yes,
ticket space? Okay,
yes.
cool.
So but like
Okay.
in specific to concrete
That's all good. No, that's all good. Okay, so in the high ticket space, so if that person called you, they're homie of yours, and like, yo, Tony, man, fuck, 2024's been rough. Um, you know, John Doe used to get all our leads on Facebook, and now they're doing this new thing with Instagram, and they're using the AI and many chats, and people are booking in through Instagram, and like the leads are shit, and I'm just struggling, and I can't fucking close anything. I don't know what to do. What do you think I should do?
Wow, that was amazing. That was fucking amazing. I would tell them to, first of all, review their call to see if it's a fuck, bro, that's so good. If it's a closing problem, like what's the missing
Okay.
link? Why people not
Right.
buying? And after that, kind of look at like before that, like what are people seeing and hearing before it?
So like the pre-frame to the call.
Yeah, like the ads to the funnel to the triage
Gotcha.
to the pre-call
Okay.
video, kind of
Yeah.
see like, what are people seeing.
And then
And
what are they looking for? What would they be looking for there? So let's say they look at the process and they're like what are they looking for specifically?
uh I say different level of like awareness of the lead,
Mm, mm,
like how aware someone is, and like
okay.
kind of different between the guy who like buy versus the guy who
Mm,
didn't buy. Like what was
right.
the like
So the kind of like the comparison, the contrast between the two of like what was it like for these people and what is it like for the ones
who
over
didn't
here?
buy? Yeah, and then like see like
Gotcha.
what's the gap, and maybe you can like fill.
Okay, and when they find that gap, let's say they find it, they're like, wow, it's very clear what buyer versus non-buyer do. What do they do then?
They would implement things so that the
But they're just a closer. Like, can they even do that?
what? Uh, oh, if it's a clone, they can't. But I'm lucky enough. I'm the business owner, so I can.
Oh, shit! Oh, shit. Now, I'm going to ask you a hard question here, Tony.
Go ahead.
Okay. If you have to really zoom out, okay, and just remember, you're not, some 16-year-old guy who bought a drop shipping course who's just some copy paste. You've been in this for some time?
Um, like a year and 4 months.
Okay. And collectively from your environment of just what I know about you, you're exposed to like a century of sales experience and money and affluence and exposure.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
really lucky in the past year
Okay.
and a half.
So you got some solid experience under your belt. You got some great environment. You've seen what's possible. Okay. And the hard question here is, it's a really tough one, is sometimes, and it just kind of happens where we almost forfeit our own power, where, we're like, I don't know if I could fix this. I don't know what it is. And it almost feels, the word is self-righteous. And what I mean by that is it feels self-righteous to be like, I have this problem and I can't fix it and it can't be done and you don't understand. And we go into this pattern of trying to explain and justify why things are because it feels self-righteous. And when it gets validated by someone else, and this is the messed up part, it actually fucking feels good. Right? And it's not like the same as like I'm trying to host a pity party and have some tea, but it kind of is. Right? And as that happens, there's a subconscious thing that happens that we almost quietly quit. And the reason why I know it's tough is like you would say, dude, I'm not quitting, I'm fighting, I'm here. And my question to you is, if you really had to think about it, and this was back in when you were hungry, ambitious, just starting the business, trying to prove a point, trying to get into the good rankings and bankings of everyone else, and you were as resourceful as you could possibly think, and you're like, dude, I'm a fucking champ, I'm a legend, I'm young, I'm hungry. The good thing is I'm dumb and nothing can stop me because no matter what it is, I'll always figure it out. And you had to put yourself against the wall and be like, come hell or high water, I'm gonna die in this, I'm gonna figure it out. And if you really had to think about it, do you truly believe that you could figure out this problem that you have right now?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Okay. Without even thinking of the problem, what would be like the next three action steps? Like we got off the call today, I sent you all the love, we hung up. What would be like, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and that. What would be the next three things that you're going to do
I
to
would
fix your closing problem?
Okay, I would review my own call, right? Boom,
Okay.
boom. And then review the actual triage call to see like what
Ooh.
occurred, and before it gets sent to me, and kind of just Then lastly, just review all the marketing resources, like what
Mm.
being seen,
I,
and then
yeah.
like that, like what to implement, like what's the main con objection that we're getting, like why we like
Right.
go back, re-handle it
Right.
on the process.
And what would be the last, if you had to advise that guy who's going to go and take this, and you go, okay, Tony, this time, when you go review the calls, when you review the triage, when you review the marketing, I need you to keep this in mind. What piece of advice would you give him?
To have like an open mind about what I'm seeing.
Okay. And what would that mean? That's an open mind. I love that, dude. It's expansive.
I think it means that I think coming to like try not to like box things in a certain way,
Yeah.
and really like what's that word called? Like fucking
Holistically?
holistically. Yes, that's the
Can
word.
you, can
Look
you write
at
that down? Can you write that word down? That little reminder to yourself?
yeah, holistically look at everything
Yeah.
and be like, what's like the missing link?
Mm. And when the doubt comes in, what would you remind yourself?
That it can be figured out.
Oof. Do you believe that when you say that?
Of course.
Fuck that.
No, yo, that was fire.
He's got Tony clapping for himself. Bro, even I feel it right now, and I'm just watching this, dude. Holy shit. Okay. Wow.
You feel that, Tony?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you, let's say we were in a sale, are you an empowered buyer right now?
Yeah.
Is there some part of you that's you're like, yo, dude, what does he do? Like, can I pay him? Like, what? Just think
Yes.
about that.
Yes.
Okay. So watch. Never be closing. Did I make a sales pitch? uh,
Bro, do you believe that was crazy? That whole thing was crazy. That whole thing was insane. Wow.
what just happened? Just process that. I'm just gonna say one thing, okay? This is the common thing I see with salespeople. They're like, I have a process, I have management, I have leadership, I have mentors, I have this, and they're like, I'm good. And a lot of times they stay stuck because they only know what they know. And the purpose of a coach or anything is to be like someone who's not you, who's been there and done that, who's further ahead, that can expertly guide you and be like, holy shit, dude, there's levels to this game. Let me help you get there. And the problem is most people just get good enough and they stay good enough. And that's why they never break through to be the top. Okay. And my question is to someone like you, who's you're exposed to, like, what kind of sales experience and stuff are you exposed to currently as in your world?
So like I mentioned to you, I'm, decent good friend with, Jeremy Miner, as people know.
Nice.
I got coaching from Matt one-on-one, and it's essentially the whole
Goats in the game.
Yeah.
Legends in the game. Love it. Well, dude, we're only 4 minutes in. Let's chip a couple more minutes in. Let's chip a couple more minutes.
We want that. We can't afford to have 5 jobs. We needed to have more than just 5.
Oh wow. So when you say, I know you mentioned with Angie's List, you can't compete with the people in your area.
I mean, we could, but it's hard. It's not. It's a challenge.
What have you seen so far that caused you to feel like it's hard?
Just bidding on the same jobs, I guess.
How do you mean by that?
I mean, we get receive. Sorry, I have my kid.
No, it's all good.
Do you see? Here's the really big thing, dude. Like, I wish you never ever make this mistake again. I heard a kid in the back.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what the beauty of selling door to door that I learned early on in my career? I'm like, if I cannot disconnect, okay, sometimes you go into a home, okay? I can explain it to you on the virtual side, but I'm going to tell it to you in the personal because it's easy to explain on virtual. But if you can understand it, imagine you went to someone's home, okay? You knocked your neighbor at their building, and the John is coming out. He's holding his 2-year-old. His wife is cooking. He's got the apron on. Do you get what I mean? And the dog is like running in and out, like trying to be all crazy going for a walk. And then you're going to go into his house and pitch him something. How much of his attention, respect, command, and authority do you think you have in that moment?
Not that much.
Like those, if you go in, like you can get into those and blah, 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 you actually, it's better for you to set an appointment to come back later. Even though you're in the home, you're at the kitchen. It's, if I can't get you to disconnect from everything and be fully here, bro, imagine if I let you grab your fucking sandwich and you eating and you're kind of shooting the shit with John. But think about this. I tried to push you to keep you here, to keep you more dialed in, and then it's a different access. We wouldn't have had the same breakthroughs. We wouldn't have had the same alignments. Do you follow?
Yeah, no, makes sense.
Right. So I'm like, this guy's got a kid going on right now. So now it's already pre-filmed as kind of like an infomercial. This is just an info session. Oh no, this is not a make a decision. This is I'm here to learn about what you guys do, think about it, hum about it, dream about it. Do you follow? So I just really wanted to echo that, so it's like burned in your head forever. Of like, if I cannot get you to be fully here, present with me, and in it, there's no point in us having the call because you're not gonna buy. Possibly you can, but like when I say not, it's not absolute. It just you drop your likelihood a lot. Do you follow? So,
Yeah.
I'm going to come back here, and I want you to notice he says a lot. It's hard. It's a challenge. What you're trying to avoid is you don't want to have one of these conversations. So how long has that been going on for? Okay, 5 years. And when you say like 5 years, how do you mean by that? Okay, so it's been a thing. And is this like, why is this something that you want to fix now? Oh, I want to be able to grow and scale my business. Okay. And like when you say scale your business, how do you mean? Okay, you want to get to 100K a month? Okay, well, that sounds pretty good. So, I mean, what do you think is stopping you from getting there? Dude, there's no, do you get what I'm saying? You're like up here. That's all logical.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get me? Because end of the day, you have to remember, and I'll explain to you, is if I go to the highest level to get someone, not take action, I want to go highest, like transform them, like a decision and epiphany. It's to get to that transformation level, you have to go layers deeper, which means when someone's like, I'm trying to scale, I'm like, dude, the thing that they're trying to do is not scale. There's a bigger thing because you have to come back to their identity, what'll allow them to do, what'll allow them to feel, what like there's way more than just like, I want more money. Because the money's never the thing, but they don't even know it's a thing. They're just like, I want 100K a month. Yeah, okay, right? And people just take that and okay, he wants 100K a month, and then you try to objection handle them and slam them on a close, and the only thing you have is they're trying to get to 100K a month. That's not enough to like hit someone, right? Because guess what, dude? This guy has kids.
He has 7 kids.
Brother, half this convo would be about the type of man and the father and the opportunities and the liberations that he would get for his family, not the business. That's where half this call would go.
I didn't do that until objection handling. I didn't go into identity hard into objection handling, which
That's tough.
Yeah.
Like that, dude, like right there. The reason why I stopped here is for a reason, because I heard a kid. That would be my interception to bring in to understand the family dynamics. I'm assuming you did double click on that, right? So I would go here. I'm like, oh, did I cheer a little one? Right? I'm like, oh, you got kids? Oh, cool. I just super random. I never even got to ask you. I feel so rude. Oh, you got 3 kids? Damn. Okay. Right? Because now I'm like, oh, dude, you're a father. Is he a single dad? Does he have a wife?
Yeah, a wife. You give me a wife.
Okay, cool. Okay. Okay, cool. Right? But like, do you get what I mean? Because you can pre-handle a lot of that up front when you explore that. And then I could reassociate things throughout the sales process when I learn more about them. Does that make sense?
No, that makes a lot of sense.
So I'm going to come back to the call.
We want that. We can't afford to have 5 jobs. We needed to have more than just 5.
Oh wow. So when you say, I know you mentioned with Angie's List, you can't compete with the people in your area.
I mean, we could, but it's hard. It's it's not.
What,
It's a challenge.
what have you seen so far that caused you to feel like
Okay, so he said a golden statement earlier, and I was just reading the transcript to see if you came to it. See, you're talking about the cost of the thing, right? The combo here goes about the cost of the Angie's List. Da 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 da. Read this statement, dude. Listen,
wow.
Contractors in the area, so it's getting to the point that where
this one.
we
Wait.
want that we can't afford to have 5 jobs. We needed to have more than just 5.
I'm
We
gonna
can't-
replay that. We can't afford to have 5 jobs. Bro, just listen. Ignore ads. Ignore all of that. Tony, someone said to you on a call, I can't afford to have 5 jobs. Boom, I can go into consequences. I could, like, what's the runway? I can't. And here's the simple thing, just mirror it. Yeah, Tony, yeah, it's just getting really competitive, and like, we just can't afford to have 5 jobs.
Can afford to have 5 jobs.
Yeah, I mean, between our payroll, like the 5 jobs, between the labor and what we do and what we pay out, we're basically losing money on the jobs, and we kind of like honestly, we can't keep this up. I got so much responsibilities, and we'd have to like almost double that just to be able to pay the bills. Yeah.
You want me to keep on going or no?
Well, that's cool. But I just wanted you just to practice like a quick mirror. But like, do you see how that starts to open up? But what's happening is I'm giving you emotional pain, not logical. I'm staying on this point because there's a big click for you here when this like fully clicks in. I need the emotion to come out. And I need him to feel and relive the pain and the reality of it. Because sometimes, most of the time, they've never spoken it out to someone. That guy possibly does not go to his wife and tell her how bad it is. Because what do men do to reassure their partners?
Tell them everything's fine.
I'm going to figure it out. It's coming. We're so close. It's good. It's that. So if he doesn't do that with his wife, who else is he opening up to of like, I'm fucked, I'm struggling, I'm scared, this is hard?
No one.
Imagine you give him the space to open that. Like, do you get what I mean? I'm not saying go be people's therapist. I'm like, brother, like, I'm here to serve you. We also need to acknowledge your reality. We need you to talk about it because there's something that happens when you speak it out. The brain processes things completely different. And you're like, oh my God. Because now, here's the key thing is they now, right, they own the problem. Once they speak it, like my favorite thing is when I'll ask a question or a probe or I'll dig through something and they just start sharing. And now they own the problem. I'm not saying the problem. They are, when they express it, they feel it, and this, they personally own it. And then we could label it and then use that label. Do you get me? So, but you went more on this logical, analytical, how's the ads and how are, like, there's no, the ads are struggling. Cool. Like, we know that that's going to be a thing that we're going to get to. But he's talking about, I can't keep this up anymore. Do you get the difference? Logical problem? Let's get the emotions. Okay, cool. You can't keep this up. What does that actually mean, dude? Like, are you going to have to foreclose on your mortgage? Are you not able to buy your kids food? Do you feel like a failure of a partner? Like, there's so much in there. And sometimes just giving someone the space to be like, dude, I'm fucking struggling. It makes it real for them. And they don't have to say it. It doesn't have to be that extreme. But just creating that space and asking the right questions to get them to open that up. And the key isn't so much about having the magical questions. I care less about that. I care about you knowing what to listen for. And that's why I'm spending a lot of time here.
No,
Do you follow?
great. Yeah.
Because it's less about this perfect. Okay, I was taught ask a consequence question, and I'm like, okay, but just learn to listen and how you respond. Matters way more how you listen and how you respond than anything you'll ever ask. Okay, so I'm gonna come back to him.
Oh wow. So well,
We're almost about to make it to 5 minutes.
so when you say, I know you mentioned with Angie's List, you can't compete with the people in your area.
I mean, we could, but it's hard. It's it's not. It's a challenge.
What have you seen so far that caused you to feel like it's hard?
Just bidding on the same jobs, I guess.
How do you mean by that?
I mean, we can receive. Sorry, I have my kid with me.
No, it's all good.
Hold on just a second. Let me.
Okay, so if someone says, "Sorry, I have my kid with me." Okay, you say, "Okay, is it urgent? Like, do you need a minute to?" Okay, I need you to close. Like, basically, what you're saying is, I need you to close that loop and handle whatever that is, so you can be fully present with me. I don't want you multitasking, since you don't have them on video. So if you do another just audio call,
Yeah.
like I'm like, hey, I just want to make sure, like, are you sitting down? Are you somewhere that you can't be undisturbed? Because here's the problem. Imagine they're in a public environment and their wife is there or the kid is there, like someone who's not a baby. They can't speak freely. Why can't you speak freely? Because
There's
fear of judgment. So
Yeah.
then you'll never break through with that client. Do you understand?
yeah.
Because you're with John and you guys are boys and in the same thing, we can have this convo free. But if you were at some random, I don't know, whatever, Airbnb or with a stranger or whatever, I'd be like, yo, do you have like a private room? Just because if you're comfortable and not worried about what you share, I know you'll be more open and vulnerable and way more present. So in this, if you have seventh dude, if his daughter's there, you think he's going to talk about how he's fucking financially getting ruined? Or that he's having any struggle with the business? He's going to flex, posture, and do all of that and deny his own problems.
It's great.
If his wife is there, 0% chance. Right? Like, so there's already so much happening here that, like, is so against your favor in the sale. That's why I'm like, if I do audio only sales calls, I like explicitly ask, like, hey man, so like, are you kind of like set up in your office? Are you in a private space? Or kind of what's your setup look like right now? Oh, I'm just in the kitchen with that. Okay. Right. And then I have to be like, well, I mean, I just, we only got about 45 minutes and I want to give you as much value and see, how we could possibly help you. Probably be a bit more appropriate if we just, got you somewhere comfortable where we could just get dialed in. I know, obviously, as a father with kids and a lot of responsibilities, it can be a little bit distracting. So where might be a possibility, or if we even have to reschedule, I prefer to do that we could just get you in a space that we could just have our sacred time together.
That's great.
Do you see how like tight I'm gonna hold that?
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna give the FOMO of I would even rather reschedule. Right? I'm gonna hold the posture. I'm like, dude, I need you fully present. And they might be like, okay, you know what? Just give me 2 minutes. I can't tell you the amount of times I've had that. Some will go sit in the fucking car. I was like, dope. You comfortable? You alone? Can we speak freely? Okay, perfect. All right, now. And then I can make a joke. And I'm like, okay, so who are we gonna talk smack about? Who's your least favorite? Right? And I could throw a little bit of humor. Just my style and selling. I like to bring humor, right? But dude, getting them in a car, but now they're alone and they can speak freely, bro. They never had that in their entire life, and we get to have that experience together. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay. I'm gonna just do like let's get to minute 7, and then we can kind of wrap it. Okay.
Because I'm going to see if I close a job, but end up not happening. So it's kind of like that, and
Oh yeah. So what I was gonna tell you is your verbal cues, they have to also make sense.
Mhm.
So listen to this one.
Yeah. So basically, we're getting the same amount of jobs
Mhm.
that typically share with other contractors, right?
Oh wow.
So why was that a wow?
It's a jobs to share with other people.
Okay. Is that a wow thing?
Uh,
I don't like these because like if I do a full call review, I go like anal on every little thing.
Yeah.
Because if I see something happen once, then I'm like it's a pattern. They'll show up somewhere else. Because there was 3 times that I heard your verbal cues, and I'm like they didn't make sense to me. I just didn't bring it up. But then even this, is it not normal in the industry for people to bid and share jobs?
I say a wow because I think the leads that he's getting are share. Like the leads. So the common thing that
Share.
most people know about Andrew's list is that when they send you a lead, it's sent to 10 other people in the area.
Gotcha.
So that's like why it's like, oh wow. That's
Oh,
like
okay. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, we're getting the same amount of jobs
Mhm.
that typically share with other contractors, right?
Oh wow.
And like I go to jobs that I have to fight with the customer to
I
see if I close a job, but
oh
end
wow.
up not happening. So it's kind of like that, and it's been going for about a couple years now of
Oh.
something
How,
like that.
yeah, I guess like in your mind, looking back to the past couple of years, like what's missing with Angie's List that caused you to, have to compete like that?
Uh, you know, I'm not really sure. I still haven't figured out why is that? Why is it that we're receiving more jobs and spending more money on leads
Hmm.
and not what I'm expecting to get from them?
Oh
And
wow.
it seems like
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
pattern. Do
It's
you,
a
do you get what
pattern.
I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a
Right?
pattern.
Yeah. It like I don't want to like I 3 other times because I marked it down that I was like the verbal cue didn't make sense. So that's why when you explained it, I was like, I'm gonna let this one go, but I know it's gonna come back again. Okay.
Yeah.
Because the minute there's a disconnect, I call it the law of congruency. I'm just like, dude, this guy's not fucking listening. And because you used wow twice, it's like now it just sounds scripted. It's no longer natural. So you have to have a list of like, gotcha. Ah, okay. Uh-huh. Really? Oh, okay. Like you gotta very have a variety of them. Okay.
Mm.
Um. So I'll let him go
like
on
that
this, right?
we're spending a lot more each
Mm.
year. It seems like that the more that we spend on the leads, then we can finally get, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like to me like that.
Yeah.
There's not like a set price of let's just say if I wanted to receive 20 jobs, like
Mhm.
20 jobs that I wanted to get
Mhm.
a month with that amount of money, with that
Yeah.
amount of spending. It doesn't seem like that. It doesn't seem like that I spend that much to get that 20 leads that I
Do you,
want.
do you know what's wild? Look at the ow wow. How many times you say wow, dude? Okay. Let's see if this is even in a wow.
Oh, absolutely. I get
What?
frustrated sometimes that that I have to fight with more jobs to get
Oh wow.
when
See,
when
and
I'm
it
really
has an upwards inflection. It doesn't make sense. Oh wow. Like you're in surprise.
Yeah.
Like I listened to that, I'm like, dude, are you on are you on the toilet taking the call? Right? Like if I hear this, what I would say here is
oh, absolutely. I get
What?
frustrated sometimes that that I have to fight with more jobs to get
Oh wow.
yeah.
when
I would do like, yeah. Like I would feed that. Right? Like you'd be like, ah, yeah. Right? Like just a slight acknowledgement. But I'm feeding that baseline frustration emotion because I'm trying to put more fire onto it. Okay. The reason why I was scrolling through here real quick is because what I was confused by is, oh, there we go. I think you got to it. Hold on.
In what way though?
with the pricing of the jobs that we let's say if we get a job that costs about it's not like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with
So the interesting thing for me, the reason why I was checking is like, why so long did it take you to figure out like, because you kept saying rising costs and I don't have a number. Like, like, okay, so let's say if we're talking about it, he's like, yeah, just rising costs, blah, blah, blah. I'm paying more and the costs are going up year by year. I have no idea what that is. Like, if I can't quantify the problem, you have no price anchor.
Mm,
Because watch, at this point of the call, Tony, how much does he pay per lead?
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. What is his average job order?
I don't know.
Okay. If you get him 5 more leads, how much money does that put in his business?
No clue.
Okay. So based on the information that you and him have conceptually at this point, any price of your service is too much.
Mm,
Hey, okay, if I'm like, yo, Bob, I'm gonna sell it to you. My package is $10,000. It might be too much or too little. We literally have no idea. Because I'm like, how much is the lead worth to you? How much are you spending on it? Are you even qualified to spend more? Like literally there's no data that I have here. Like up until this point, the only thing, what are the actual yours is gonna be biased because you know the rest of the call. I don't. at this point, if I was taking a call review, I'm like, what data do I know about the customer? I know he's been doing this for a few years, and there's one kid. So the game I like to play when you call review, Tony, is I'm like, what data do I have at this point of the call? He has a kid. He's been at this for a few years, and it seems like it's rising costs. Is that a high ticket problem? How much do you sell your offer for?
52.
Okay, so if you were selling a $200 solution, I'm like, great, you can get away with keeping all of this surface. Based on this, dude, you don't have a high ticket problem, and you don't have a high ticket solution. Like, most people can't make sense of the money, not because it's too much or too. Most price objections are never too much money. It's never I'm $200, $200K in the bank, and I'm leveraged, everything maxed out, I can't afford it. It's always, this is too much money for too little value, right? Because also, I'm like, well, let's say I'm dealing in a very logical negotiation towards the end on an objection handle, right? Imagine if I was like, watch, let's say we knew roughly his numbers. So I'd be like, so Tony, if there was a way, not if I could show you a way, those are two wildly different things. I won't go into psychology, but if I say, if there was a way that you had a system set up or something like that, where for every, I don't know, $1,000, $2 in, or every input, or every whatever, you got 4 back, or you got 5 back, wouldn't that, based on kind of your averages, wouldn't that be worth like what, $5,000? And he's like, yeah. Okay, so if all we had to do, if you were to get set up, all you would need is to get an extra 5, 6, 7, 8 jobs to get your investment back. Like it starts to become an easier like conversation. I'm being super vague when you have the dollars, and I'm sure you'll have it at some point in the call. But it's just like, I early up front, because you're already talking about the money and the jobs and the this. You need to quantify everything, and it needs to be super clear for him and you, because I need him as you're continuing, Tony. He needs to be thinking, I'm losing $7,000. I'm spending $2,000. We need that at the top of mind throughout the conversation.
And I have a question on that, is that I never go into the numbers. I like my
Why?
pitch really.
Why?
I try to keep my pitch even emotional. Like, these guys don't know how many leads they can get, how many jobs. It's pretty vague.
Why?
Is that a good or bad thing? It's like,
Rather than me answering, let me just ask you, like, what did you have to go through to get to that thinking process? Like, did someone tell you to do that? Did you just come up with it on your own? Like, what led you to that decision?
I think.
Oh, Kyle told you to do it. What you said?
Did Cal tell me to do that?
Yes.
Did he?
Okay.
Oh.
I'm thinking, what was it?
So
Cal?
do you see what I did there? Here's a meta experience. I'm doing cause and effect.
Mhm.
Before I even answer you, I'm digging what was the causal agent of you to have that? Because I'm like, is it a belief thing that I have to address? Is it an identity? What if it was your wife? What if it was your business partner? Do you understand? Before I answered it, because I know there's going to be challenge with my response here. Because I'm going to go fully against, because I think it's insane that you're not getting to numbers. But before I attack that or address it, I also need to temperature check, because what if you're like, dude, I paid this coach $30,000 and he told me to get that? Do you get what I mean? Now I'm going to go against on a contradiction. So I'm just trying to understand the root cause of the problem before I even go into addressing it or reshifting or anything. Because without knowing the root cause of something like this, it's harder for me to reframe you. But now you got John saying, dude, it was Kaya. Who's Kaya?
The sales director, 7 level.
Okay. So why did he tell you not to go through the numbers?
Why? You remember, John?
I don't know if it was so much of the numbers. I think it was more so the demo deck.
Like the actual presentation itself. Like, don't talk about logical stuff. For the most part, like, try to keep it like emotional and turn it off the end.
So yeah. So let me challenge all of that, and maybe I'm not even
Please.
because it feels like you may have taken something out of context. Okay. You're at discovery right here. You're trying to gather shit. Okay. So to give you for instance, me as an ass, like in my business, my sales process, when I get someone, I'm like, there's no sell. I'm like, dude, I literally need to understand where you're at because I'm like, can I actually help you? Right? Did you get what I mean? Like hypothetically, if you were a prospect, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, can I fucking help Tony? The answer is unequivocally yes. Do you follow? But I have to understand where you're at. Otherwise, I have no idea if I can help you. You have no idea if I can help you, right? But then if I were qualifying you, I'm also like, well, how much? Like, let's say you told me your thing costs 5,200 to sell. I don't need to know your profit margins, but I'm like, so if all I did, like, let's say my program cost $5,000, hypothetically. If I was like, so if all we did is I helped you close one more deal a month, would that not be worth it? Did you get what I mean? Not saying that I would ever pitch it like that, but it becomes an easier. It's called price juxtaposition. Okay, you can justify and hammer in a price gap a lot easier when you have the context of what they'll get. Because even if what you're taught with NEPQ, you have to figure out the desired outcome, the cost of the problem, the consequence, right? It's one thing to say, oh, I don't have enough leads. I'm like, who gives a shit if you don't have enough leads? What is that monetarily causing you? Tony, okay, if you're closing at 4%, how many sales calls did you have in January? Just give me a rough number.
48.
48. Okay, so I'll just round it up to 50. Is that okay? Just to keep it simple numbers. Okay. If every call has an average ticket value of 5K, is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, it's a fair assumption. Let's
Okay,
say
so
doing payment plan 3K after like payment plan and stuff, because not everyone
cool.
can pay.
So let's take a 3K. Okay. So on average, the thing to consider is how much revenue, potential revenue, was all of that. At 3K, at 50 calls, that's $150,000.
Yeah.
Have you had a minute just to process that $150,000 walked through your door in January?
Not until now. No.
Okay. So if you had to think about that, 150,000, you don't need 150K, things are good. But I'm like, okay, so let's say half of those, you're like, an ass, they're horrible leads, they're unqualified, they should have never got into my account. I'm like, great. Okay, so $75,000 potential. And obviously it's more than that because some will pay in PIFs. We're just doing it at a 3K average, okay? So if half of those were absolute horrendous leads, okay? And then, so now you only have 75,000 to work with. And then let's say for whatever reason, some of them they didn't like you. You had a bad day. You had a bad sleep. You're shitty. You fumbled the ball, and you only got half of those. So now you maybe have 35,000, 40K in the bank to work with. Okay, so we already like skimmed all of that, and I'm like, well, dude, if you learned a couple of things that shifted you and just helped you close a couple of them, and you were able to close half of those. And that puts you at a 20K month in cash collected. Would that be something that would be even helpful for you?
Of course.
Oh, okay. Is that okay? Like, is that when I said I'm like, you're like, dude, I could have fucking 20 G's. Just process that for a second. I'm using a simple, vague example, but now you're like, wait, I had $150,000 possibly, and I'm like. So let's say from the 150K, let's say we're not even that good. I can't even help you all that much. And all I do is I help you double your closing rate. Okay. And instead of getting 150K, we helped you get 20% of that. With an extra 30K to start the new year, would that be something that would put you in a half decent position?
That would be great.
Okay. This is the first time I saw you smile on a call. What happened there? Do you see that? And I'm going to get you to double commit. And now you're going to expand and clarify that. So now, and a little bit of NBC, and you're going to resell me on that. But the point is, I'm like, well, me knowing the numbers makes a wild difference. Do you understand? Because now I have an associated. Okay. What if, Tony, his fucking jobs that he's talking to you about, the 5, the average work order is $1,000, or it's 20,000. If it's a contractor and they're bidding, it's probably a lot more. Here's the crazy thing: you don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. Do you get what I mean? So it's way harder to start painting a bigger gap because now he's in the conversation of leads, prospects, bids, and all of that. I'm like, does he want more leads or does he want more money? Does he want more leads or what it's going to do for his family? Does he want more leads or to be able to pay payroll and take care of his team? Does he want more leads or does he want freedom?
Mhm.
What did I say? Level 1, you're trying to fix his leads. But who gives a fuck about leads, Tony? What are we trying to get to with this guy?
His being a dad identity.
What else? Okay, daddy, does he have a team that he's trying to take care of? Is he embarrassed about like? Do you get what I'm saying? The convo is so much more past the leads. And when you can build the gap and associate everything and bridge it together, and but when you get to a close and he's like thinking about all these things and you help him envision it and see it, right? Because I would have asked him the tough questions here that no one's asking him. Like earlier, if he's talking about, yeah, it's tough, it's getting really tough. I'm like, yeah, I hear that, man. And like when you say tough, like, are you talking like payroll or
Mhm.
why can't I challenge him and just ask him that? Imagine he's struggling to make payroll. I don't know, maybe he is. Do you know as a business owner how scary it is to struggle and hustle to make payroll?
Yeah.
But conceptually, you get it. Now imagine you get him to talk about it emotionally. It's the scariest feeling. It's tough. It's insane, right? But the point is that you need all that emotional juice, and part of it is it helps you to know. So my coaching to you is early on in discovery, bro. If you're talking to people and it's a biz op, which is what you're doing, and you're helping them make more money and you're helping them do all of that. Imagine I sold coaching services and I never asked you how much you sell your offer for. Can you imagine how insane the sales call would be? I have no idea what you sell, how much it sells for. And I'm just like, yo, I'm great. I'm going to help you with your sales. Like, it's kind of silly. But then if I'm talking to you and you're like, yo, I do it for $5,000 and blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, all we have to do is close 5 more deals. Okay. So Tony, do you feel that if you and I worked and we plugged in every single week, you had call reviews, your trainings and modules from me, I personally, you got access to me, that the next time you have a call like this, rather than waiting and hoping and wishing and praying, you're actually able to directly reach out to me and be like, hey, dude, can you help me with this? And you got specific feedback, custom tailored to you as to what you could have done differently to even help you either save it and follow up or to make sure you never make that mistake. Do you think that you and I, if we did that, how we even just went on the song and dance for the next 60 days, you don't think I can get you close 5 more deals?
No, of course.
Okay. It seems like you're pretty certain with that. So, I mean, that's, an extra 20K, 25K, 10K, 5K. Now, when we get to a price and all that kind of stuff, is it more costly for you to do nothing or to do something with me?
To do something.
Do you get what I mean? Like, it'll be way easier to make sense of the money.
Yeah.
So with this guy and with these people, I would ask them up front, what's your average job order? Like what's the average is that? Some people, they do a couple grand, some people do 50 grand. So you can also use that to position yourself as like, I work with big dogs and I work with little dogs.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? So some people, so then, because then you challenge their internal belief, because here's what could happen. Someone might get on a call with you. They're like a 50-year-old construction guy who's been doing this his whole life. He looks at you, he's like, he's some kid. What the fuck does he know? He can't help me. Now you're battling a belief system, right? But then if early on here, this is NBC, never be close. You're subtly selling without selling. All you're doing is you're like, yeah, I mean, like when you say, you guys do an average, like what's kind of like the average jobs? I mean, we've seen or we've helped or we've worked with people.
And then we can finally get, I don't know. It seems like
we've
to me
helped
like
people, they're doing, $50,000 a job, $2,000, 500. I'm kind of just curious, like where might you land? Do you get what I'm saying? So now you added a bit more credibility, authority, and in their mind, they think less of, can this person actually help?
Mm.
Is that making sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. For sure.
Okay. It seems like you're a little bit hesitant on something, so I'm kind of curious what's going through your mind.
I'm just thinking right now, like maybe because the reason why not closing is I'm not justifying the logic behind, because then
Yeah.
there's I don't ask how much do they make per job at all. And the thing is,
Bro, that's fucking insane.
one
Like, it's
job
actually insane.
at like 10K average. So it's a 4 months program for 5,200. So
all you have to do is possibly get him 2 jobs, and he's like, dude, I'm in heaven.
Yeah, they make one job to make the money back and more.
Okay. Is your product so bad that you can't get someone 1 job?
No, we get people more than one job for sure. So
I don't know, man. I don't feel the conviction. So I'm like, you tell me, dude. Do you see the difference? But then there's also a master thing that just happened here on the call. Okay, and I hope John saw it. I probed you without moving the conversation forward. Because I sensed, remember I was like, you have to pay attention and watch and listen to people. I was like, he's in deep contemplation right now. I don't want to go and teach or coach or cover the next item because you're processing something right now. So I had to create some space for you. Okay. So I'm going to teach you the golden word. It's called labeling. Okay. There's 3. I'll give you my favorite 3. All you say is, it seems like, it looks like, it feels like. The key word is it. And then you just vary seems, looks, feels. So here's what I just did with you, Tony. I was like, Tony, it seems like, I could say, so generally you want to label an emotion and you can mislabel it and it would have a positive impact, and you can also label it correct. So here's what I mean. That's how you diffuse attention. So I'll explain. I could say like, it seems like I lost you. What's on your mind? Imagine I just said that. It seems like I lost you. What's on your mind? And you go, oh, no, you didn't lose me. I'm just thinking about how I lost. How I'm probably losing the deals because all you did is you corrected me.
yeah,
Which is fine. But now we're in communication, we're in rapport, and I'm listening, and I'm not going over you. And I'm allowing you to process and get everything out, because I'll get data, you'll have clarity before I move you along. What NBC trains salespeople or average salespeople, what they do is they'll just continue the sales process. And I'm like, dude, he's still here. If you gloss over that and I didn't let you process this, do you know what happens during the rest of the sale? You get less certain. If you get less certain, you trigger objections. I need you to process what I just shared, because if you get that, like that's a fucking massive click.
yeah,
You can't just move the sales process, because I sense, I'm like, he's a little. My assumption was I thought you were in disagreement with something, but I was like, I don't know if that's true or not, so I'm just going to label it, and I'm like, it seems like you got something on your mind. It feels like this upset you. Right? Sometimes I'll say something that could be offensive. It feels like this upset you. I'm not saying I'm not making it about me. It feels like this upset you. And they're like, oh, no, I'm not upset. I'm thinking about how I can make this change. You're like, oh, okay, cool. What do you mean by that? And then now we're exploring that real quick. You get me?
yeah. No, that was great.
Okay. So you got to get to the money, dude, and bring it up very early on, up front in the call. It's insane that you don't. I hope you know that. It's insane. That is insane, Tony, that you do not bring up the money up front.
I don't talk any numbers at all.
Is it like legitimate? You have to think about it. Is this like a fear-based thing, or just like you, for whatever reason, you would believe that that's the right approach?
For whatever, it's not fear-based for sure. It's for whatever reason,
Okay.
I believe
Okay,
that.
cool. So I will tell you 1,000% that is suicide. This is the most ridiculous thing to do, to not get to money, price, all of that. Think about this. I have B2B clients, big companies, like 8-figure companies that I work with, and I contract with them a rev share. Cool. I'll blow your sales team up. I want a percent of all the rev. Okay. Imagine I'm trying to negotiate that and I have no idea what their average sales is like. You'd be like, that would be insane. Can I just give a blanket rev share? Do you know what I mean? You're like, well, no, that's stupid. You need to know how much. Did you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
like, oh, dude, I could tell you one company I have a retainer and a 15% rev share. I can tell you another company I have a retainer and a 7% rev share. It's in context. right? I can't negotiate or like what's your average work order? What's your churn? I need to know all these things so that I can. Otherwise, then the numbers mean nothing. They have no context to anything.
You think the sale could ever be like too emotional and not enough logical?
How do you mean by that?
Like, because then for the past month, essentially,
Mhm.
I don't talk about numbers. I don't talk about how many leads they can expect to get. I don't talk about their numbers. Well, I talk about how many jobs they do per month. Like that one of the questions, how many jobs they're going to do per month? Boom.
Mhm.
But I don't ask for their average jobs. I don't talk about my numbers, what we expect to produce, or anything like that. Is that a problem? Or
100%. That's insane. Okay, so I'll explain to you why. All sales is a transfer of emotions. That is all sales is. Okay, and the emotion is certainty. That's it. When someone gets on a call with you, they need to feel certain. That's when someone makes a decision, they're empowered. When you're empowered and you make a decision, what do you actually feel? Think about it. When okay, Tony, you paid, I think, Eli or John or someone's coaching you some stuff, right?
actually, I'm not paying anyone right now.
Okay. At some point in time, okay. Think about the last thing you paid money. Okay, last thing or someone you paid money for.
Yes,
When you're doing it, you feel some certainty. Do you get me? That they're going to help you, that this is the solution, that this is the path. When you don't buy, you feel uncertain. The thing is, there's different buckets of, oh shit, mind map doesn't go downwards, does it? Okay. There's 4 pillars that I always look at. And this is my frame. Okay. You have logical, and I'll just talk about the first 2 because they're huge. Okay. So certainty, what does certainty mean? It actually breaks down into buckets. Okay. So there's logical certainty and there's emotional certainty. Logical is, do I understand this? Like, think of logical as the easiest way is if that guy got off the call and he had to go tell his wife about what you guys do, could he explain specifically what you guys do?
kind of. You know that we run ads and then we give them CRM and we give them accountability.
Okay. So how logically certain do you think that is on a scale of 1 to 10? So watch, I'll explain to you what a 10 would look like. Okay. He goes, yeah, honey. So what these guys do, you know how there's a whole bunch of people, they run ads. What they do differently is they do some like interest-based targeting. So they actually find people that are localized to a demographic with the specific interest based on the data that they found that is actually relevant to the industry that we're in. So it's customized, specialized, the specialized type of ads that they do. And then what they do, they have the CRM, it's just a fancy word. If they have this tool and it just automates everything. So everyone so they shoot the ads, they do all the legwork. We don't have to do anything for the ads. We just pay for the spend. And then they have it flow through this thing. And then all that matters is it goes through the system and then eventually comes to our calendar and then comes to this and it goes to that. And then all we're responsible for is we have to do X, Y, and Z. And then that's how we get the jobs. And they've done it here and there. And then we pay them and then we do this thing. And then what the cool thing is, they don't just leave us and then we're on our own. They actually have a dedicated person, Tony, the CEO. He's going to be with us to ensure our success because by the end of it, right now, honey, we're doing about 5 deals a week. The thing that they're committing, that they're literally guaranteeing is that in their 4 months that we're going to get to an average of 10 deals a month. So they'll help us double the business. If they can logically explain it, right? Then that's more certain. The thing is, everyone has a different threshold. Some people need logical certainty at 100%. Some people call them the analytics. Some people just need less. They care more about the emotional certainty. So this is a simplified view of just to think about any sale. These are the 4 pillars that you have to knock down. Okay. So when I hear you listen and you do the wows and the this, you drop the certainty in you. So they actually lose trust in you. Do you follow?
Yeah.
So it's all those little things of how deep are your questions? How are your responses? What you're saying? Are you glossing over? Are you engaged? Right? Like if I go look at you and me, I presume that you'd have high certainty in me as a person because I hope you feel my care, my kid, right? And it's like you got to transfer that because that matters. Certainty in the company. Did they believe in what you represent? That the company can help them? That the like, do you know what I mean? Like the actual what you represent, the entity that because you're solopreneur, you can kind of mesh the certainty in the company and you together almost. Okay. But it's also the things of if we listen to the rest of the call, does that person feel that you have their best interests in mind? That's a really important one. Do you get what I mean? When I tell you, I go on that call with that person and I don't give them the offer and I don't sell them and I pull back. It's also a strategy that I teach because I'm like, I need to pull. And if you don't pull me back, I'm like, this sale's never happened. But if you pull back and then you try to re-engage and recommit and resell, it's helping me with the resell and the diffuse. So it's strategic, but it's also like, dude, like I'm not going to sell you something if I don't think I can help you or you're committed, or you're going to show up and do the work. Right. So if they don't sense all that stuff, that drops the certainty in you. Now the trick is everyone has different thresholds. Me as an ass, as a consumer, I just need high emotional certainty and high certainty in you, and I'm good. I don't care about the logical and like I don't care about all the details. It's like I fuck with Tony, I like him, he's dope, he's good shit, he's credible, like I'm all in. Do you follow? Like that's me as a consumer. Some people are like, brother, I want to look up and review and make sure and process and think and how does this work? What is the do? If you guys know like Christian, for instance, like Eli's business partner, if you were to sell to Christian, I have to attack logical certainty. Like he needs like 1,010%, or he'll never buy.
Is that because for the longest time until this call, really, I believe that every single buyer is an emotional buyer, and everyone you can drive them down to emotional route, and logical is like out the way. You should get the door for
There's yeah, different conversations. There's different personality types, all that fun stuff. All that is real. But I'm showing you a simplified model here in the sense of everyone has these pillars, but everyone has a different threshold of how high you need to get them on that spectrum. Have you met Christian?
Yeah, I met Christian. Yeah,
Dude, prime example. You cannot emotionally close Christian.
you think so?
I know, man. Where'd you get your first clothes? I did, bro.
Ask John. Ask John real quick. John,
John, you think you can really close Christian?
No way. No way.
do you understand? So the point is everyone has a different threshold. So what I'm explaining is Christian, yes, needs some emotional certainty, but he needs a lot, like he would be on the higher threshold of logical certainty.
Yeah.
The data, the numbers, the analytics, the ROI, he needs every little piece of it. So if you sold how you sold to Christian, you have a 0% chance of selling. Zero. Like not even negative. There's nothing you could do. So my school of thought from the NBC approach, I teach, I'm like, you have to hit all of them at all times. And then when you identify, as you go through the process, who you're dealing with that type, you leverage and angle things that are more relevant to them. But you always have to raise all of them. So that's why when you're saying you don't talk about the numbers, I was like, that's suicide, because I'm like, you literally like slashed a third of your market for no reason, more than a third. Because the logical certainty is so low with all of them. The people you're closing, they just have a low threshold for logical, and you're getting them emotionally hyped up enough or in enough pain and all that kind of stuff that they make a decision.
I'm dead ass to this day. I thought if you get anyone emotional enough, they would buy.
Impossible. Dude, I outside of my coaching, I own a solid cologne business. So we point is my business partner in that. Dude, like logical certainty, like we last year we joined a 30K mastermind, and like we were meeting with different coaches, different groups. Dude, I knew what he was like, and it was like none of the emotional important shit that I like or care about, he cared about. Just like totally, basically we're the polar opposite. So it had to be the numbers, the analytics, how many times are going to meet, what is it, like it has to logically make sense, and then that gives them the certainty.
Fuck. So with a logical person like that, would you still take them through the same process, but just like a different?
Different emphasis. Yes. So think of it like, let's say I'm selling you, Tony. Okay. I know you. I would spend less on the logical side, but I would still address it. So it has to be there, but I would just spend less time on it. Right? If I was talking to a John, similar thing. If I was talking to an Eli, similar thing. Y'all three are kind of similar in that.
Yeah.
So you're projecting, thinking about you like, I'm like this. Well, logically, subconsciously, you think that that's how it is, but that's so far from the truth. And it's blessing that you know Christian, because look at John one more time. John, if you can hear me, do you think you can emotionally close Christian?
Literally no shot.
No, zero. Zero. Like, I'm not even saying 1%.
Yeah. For real?
Dude, I've closed Christian on a bunch of little things all the time. Because I know how to sell to him, right? I have to hit. There's like, it's like a flizzler of the emotion. Like I add it, like I drizzle it, but it's mostly here.
So, Anas, follow-up question to that. Could that be, could you use the disc assessment to sell to people like that? Isn't that a thing? Have you ever done that before?
Yeah, I've done the disc, the red, blue, green. There's yeah. So to not like, some people go so deep into that and they like get lost in that world of like, I have to know this exact personality type, and the reason I caution talking about this, unless you go like super deep into it, is that people then just become prejudiced in a way that they're like, oh, they're this type of person. They're a controller, and then they box them into that, and and then you miss the other stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So that's why I showed you the simplified model there, where the easiest way I personally say to look at it is those 4 boxes that I looked at. Because I'll explain to you. Let's say hypothetically, we don't even know what objections that guy came up with. When you get an objection, the person, all an objection is, I'm a little bit uncertain or unsure about this. That's what an objection is. Okay. So what that says, I logically don't understand it. I'm emotionally not fully connected there. I'm a little bit unsure, hesitant about you. That's what it is. Right? Because watch this. You guys get that it's too expensive. Okay. At what point did that person say to you, the banks don't have loans? At what point did they say, I don't have a line of credit? At what point did they say, all my credit cards are maxed out? Please actually think about this. If all the sales calls you all collectively have done, how many of them do you think have 100% maxed out every credit card? Every partner has a maxed out credit card. Every line of credit has a maxed out card. There's no lien or equity against their mortgage that they've used. How many, as a percentage, do you think of the people that you actually talk have zero financial wherewithal or capability?
Yo, Leon House is crazy.
But serious question. How many?
Good point.
0, 10, 20?
Dude. No, I've actually met some, but not a lot. Some people who are like, I generally believe did not like in the financial spot at all.
But here's the crazy thing, dude. Okay. Check this out. Empowered buyer with enough of a gap, with enough logical, emotional, everything certainty, you forget that someone could be resourceful. Because who here has been a broke ass at some point in their life? You went and bought shit that you couldn't afford, that you literally physically did not have any money for. You did some trip, you bought something, you committed some, you did something because you were empowered enough to be resourceful.
What did I step into, dog?
So, these are a lot of like, people have all these beliefs and frames and things that they just buy into, especially with sales. And I'm like, at what point did that become true? Do you follow? At what point did I become true? Because I could tell you, at an earlier stage in my life, I bankrupted myself, sold every stock, share, asset. Dude, I was selling shit at a 40% loss. Like, imagine you're like, hey, I'm going to sell this thing for $20,000 and I'm going to lose 40 or 50% on it just because I needed the cash. Okay. Maxed out to literally bank shutting every credit card that I shut, like account shut, suspended, banned. I had access to zero funds. Do you follow? Like not zero. Then outside of everything sold, everything gone, every asset, every piece of equity gone to my name. In addition to that, $130,000 in debt. Just process that. You would go and be like, an asset, technically, if you knew the whole thing, you're like financially unqualified. Ended up doing a PIF over 10K. Just process that. Just think about that for a second. This is real life shit. Do you get what I mean? Like literally, like I remember calling a buddy and I was laughing with it. And I remember calling him like hysterically laughing and like, holy fuck. I was like, dude, I can't buy water. There's nothing I could tap. There's no money. There's zero, like zero. Like, do you know, like usually you could like float something here or like zero. And then what happens? You get resourceful. Do you get me? So just a side conversation, but like this is a different convo on objections and closing and all that kind of fun stuff. But the real is to answer John's question. And like I wouldn't go unless you go really trained into it, or you go through my program. No, just kidding. Or you go through the personalities and stuff. I don't box people in. But just as a general, it's like, okay, does this person logically understand this thing enough that he could go and explain it to someone? Right? Like I always joke with Eli because they do this cold email and this and that, and they have an AI and they do a bunch of Googles and right. Sometimes you can brush the stuff that someone who has no idea what the fuck you're talking about doesn't actually understand it. Do y'all follow?
Yeah.
So even though you can assume that everyone knows it and it's common sense and this and that I'm like, that drops the logical certainty. So when you get to a close or a price, they actually feel uncertain. They don't know why, but they're just because logically they're not fully certain on what it is, how it fulfills, how it looks, how it's secured, how it's shown. Even if they know and understand. No, because okay. How many times has someone said to you, I'm going to punch you so hard on the head with this one, right? Okay. How many times have you spoken to someone and they're like, yeah, you know, in the movie 300, or do you remember when Thor said this thing and he kicked the guy off and then they say the quote and you're like, oh yeah. You ever had that? Like you like someone like references a movie or a skit or a show and they're like, yo, you remember when so and so person did this thing and you don't actually remember it.
Yeah.
What do you say? Do you say, no, I'm dumb, I don't fucking know, or I don't remember? Have you ever done that?
No.
What do you do? Oh yeah. And if they continue talking, you're like, oh yeah, you go along. Because we as humans don't want to be not in the know and we don't want to feel dumb and we don't want to look stupid and we're scared more about the fear of judgment or looking small or less than because by me asking this question, it drops my status. And as humans, we want to do anything to do that doesn't drop our status. So it's easier for you to lie and, you know, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Right? Eli, the other day, he's like, oh, you know this person? I'm like, I have no idea who the fuck that is. I think yesterday. Do you remember, Eli? You brought up this person, this fancy, I don't know. You'll bring up like a fancy, he brought up some dude. I was like, I have no idea who that is.
There's been times where like Anas will say, yo, do you know who this is? And I'll be like, I'll pause for a second and I'm about to go and say yes. And he's like, it's okay if you don't know, bro. It's okay if you don't know.
Right? Because I know that human nature is to just say yeah. So what I'm explaining to you, I'm like, if we lie about a fucking movie quote or a food or a reference or, oh, do you remember that? Have you seen that TikTok with that? Oh yeah, I think yeah, with oh yeah. And you kind of just play along with that. I'm like, you think someone on a fucking sales call is gonna be like, I don't understand this thing. I'm stupid. Please tell me. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's a real thing. So I'm like, if you think Little John is going to just courageously know the right questions and put his hand up and ask every single little piece, I'm like, you are sadly mistaken, right? Because even this, check this out. Y'all drop the words anchor. Y'all drop the words label, reframe. But if I actually ask you, I'm like, do you actually know what that means? And can you explain it? Or do you just a lot of times go along with it because it sounds cool and fancy and you kind of know it?
Yo, that's kind of crazy.
Just spoke into the soul. Wow.
What's a reframe?
Am I right or am I wrong? Just process that.
You're not wrong.
Okay. Do you follow?
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
Right. So when you look at that, is earlier on in the call, Tony, at the beginning, I used the complex equivalence, right? And it's like, I'm like, hey, the issue isn't this. it's actually this, and here's what it means, and then I link it to identity. That's a Eli's like Eli's he's a smart guy. He's like, what is that? Let me
Elicit what? What is it called?
yeah. Okay. It doesn't matter. But
No, fuck you. Tell me.
Okay?
Tell me.
Just Eli, at some point you got to pay, dude. No, I'm just kidding. I'm messing with you. Okay, but just hear me out for a sec. Okay. It's complex equivalence is what it's called. Okay, it's from NLP. So the thing is that you have to look at is how many times do you all toss these words?
A lot.
But do you actually be like, no, I understand exactly what this means, how it applies in this. But would you not feel stupid, Tony, if at some point I was like, yeah, dude, you just do a reframe. Okay, cool. So I reframed them. But if you were actually more courageous and smarter, you'd be like, I don't actually know what you mean by that. Can you explain to me specifically how would I reframe someone?
Yeah. That makes sense.
Just think about that. Just think about we say anchor. Everyone drops the word anchor. I was laugh. I'm talking about people say, oh, I probably saying I anchor. I anchor this, I anchor that, I put that frame. Right? It's not my place to challenge them. It's not the time and place for it. But I'm like, everyone kind of says it, but they don't actually fully understand it. Right? So if I said to you, and I'm like, yo, so Eli, so all you got to do is you just got to anchor them, and you just, oh, okay, yeah, I got it. You anchor them, and you do the identity switch at the end. Right? Not because Eli's less than or whatever, but because as humans, we want to be in the know. Because guess what? If I agree and I go along, it raises my status. But if I say no, it makes me dumb. So to answer your question about the objections, would they not ask you? No, because it drops their fucking status. So most people won't ask it unless you got a crazy like me, who I'd be like, no, I don't know, I'm dumb. Explain. No, what does that actually mean? I have no idea what you're talking about. You get me? So, so my overall arching thing is I'm like, you hit the logical certainties, you hit the emotionals. Like, so I'm always like, make sure your person logically understands it, that they can explain it to someone else. Because if they can't logically explain it to someone else, you're going to trigger a lot of partner objections. That's a fun secret. Because do you know why some partner objections, legitimately, especially if it's a spousal objection, is because they don't know how to explain it properly in a way that is conducive. So how I pre-diffuse a lot of partner objections, and that's why I was like, dude, you need to figure out his family dynamic. Because if there's a wife or a girlfriend, let's say, you need to help coach them through on how they would actually have that conversation in advance, right? But if they don't fully understand the ins and outs and they go to their wife and be like, honey, I'm going to go spend $6,000 with these guys, what is she going to say? Oh, you're stupid. You're getting scammed. You're getting bamboozled.
So you prevent it by coaching them on it, basically.
Yes, because I need your certainty so high. Yeah. Because if his certainty is high that he can go and have that conversation, that.
Yeah. No, I already knew that for sure.
Yeah,
Dude,
I get that.
But like watch right now, if you guys are actually smart and you have courage and you're out of ego, you would say, that sounds really dope. I think I understand it, and ask, could you just spend a couple more minutes and explain that?
I want to ask you a question on the logical thing. Is like when you really go into the logical side of selling, and I feel like right now, like my process is even the pitch, like they don't really know what the fuck we do. Kind of
Okay.
like
I don't like that, dude. I don't like that at all.
it's like it's really emotional, even within the pitch.
Okay, hit me with the pitch. Go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Cool. So I kind of break it down to 3 different pillars right here. So you actually want to do the whole thing?
I want you to go through the pitch.
Okay, awesome. So I can pull up my script thing for the pitch, which I don't remember since I got this new script. But I'm gonna screen share with you. Cool. So after I finish the process and I get the consequence, I would do this. I bridge into the pitch. Hey, can I show you the 3 pillars that the most successful, concrete contractor have used to go in from?
Pause. What is the thing right before you say, can I show?
Consequence.
Okay, so before you bridge, like, how did you get me here? When can I share this? Like, what prompted you to say that?
I get the consequence out of you, and then I'll be like, well, okay,
So what? Give me a sample consequence that a prospect would say.
My business will shut down the next year.
Okay.
And then like I will go deep a little bit, like how would that kind of impact you and your family, blah blah. And be like, okay, like are you up for that? No, why not? And you feel like now's the right time for you to, put things in place that you can get to XYZ? Yeah.
Yeah.
Why now though? You'll be like, because of this. And
Okay.
sometimes it depends on the prospect. I would add like responsibility. It's like, are you okay? Like, by the end of the day, like, who choices is to make, like, who responsibility is it to put things in place so that doesn't happen?
Yeah.
Like,
It's me. Yeah.
you want to do that? Become committed to doing that? Yes, cool.
Yeah.
And be like, cool. So I think, and by the way, thank you for sharing all that with me. I think
Mhm.
what we got going on will help you out. Can I show you the 3 insert, Rich?
I don't like that. Okay. All right.
What's it?
Yeah. Okay, go on, but go on. Because you yeah, dude, that's yeah. Okay, carry on. Hit me with the pitch. Yeah.
But
Not what you said before. It was cool. What you said before, I was good. That was fine. It was the transition point. I'm like that's not an ideal transition.
and
But carry on. Keep going. Keep going. Yeah.
yeah, so it's pretty simple. I break down 3 different pillars right here for you.
Mhm.
Pillar number 1 is the wealthy homeowner ad system, right? Because
Yeah.
you remember how much to me right now you are, you rely on Angie's List or referral, insert the problem. And it's not consistent, right?
Okay.
It's making
Mhm.
you feel a little bit stressed.
Okay.
And what we do to fix that is insert what they're looking for, right? So
What get pretend pick a typical prospect and just insert
Okay.
the things. But go.
What we
Yeah.
fix that is to install a hands-off system in place, because you mentioned to me the biggest thing right now, you want someone to kind of take care of the marketing completely because you don't have the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
The reason why we do that is because for you to be able to get that consistency and get to the point where you are doing $100,000 a month,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which more importantly will allow you to have more time with the family. More importantly, give that filter to your kids, right?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
the reason why it's so important is because if nothing changes, you might actually
Yeah.
go next year,
Yeah.
right? And it's not the best feeling ever. And can you see how that works though?
Yeah. Yeah. See, right here.
Yes. As a
I call that a baiting question. Okay. And here's what I mean. Think about the only 2 options you gave me to answer. Okay. So if you say, do you see how that works here? Okay. The easy answer is I say yes. But you also make it super difficult for me to go in opposition because I'll drop my status because I say I'm dumb, I don't understand. So you actually fuck it up right here. Yeah, so we do this, we're going to do all that, so we're going to help you get to this 100K, we're going to do that, we're going to plug into the system, so you're going to do nothing. It's pretty much a fairy tale and everything's fucking good. Obviously, that all makes sense, right?
Fairy tale is crazy. Oh. You're talking to contractors too, bro. I think they might have a high school diploma.
Bro, it doesn't matter who you're talking to. The is that all making sense? Okay, you're asking a yes-based question, which is very geared towards a yes. That like you're like, it's almost a double commitment question where you're like, obviously this makes sense and you fully understand it, right? Because you're not stupid or something. Like you're making it so hard to say that. So I'll give you a simple way, okay, to pause and break down without breaking your whole process, because I'm going to desperately have to jump here, okay? All you're going to say is you're like, hey, I know I just kind of, I get really technical, I geek out about this. You could say that, or you could say, hey, I know I just covered a whole bunch of stuff, and I probably caused more questions than I answered. What's kind of the first thing that's coming through your head right now? Hey Tony, I know I just threw a whole bunch of stuff on you. I apologize. I get technical and geeky. You know, I love this stuff. I should probably ask you. Um, what's kind of going through your head right now? I know. Okay, or here's my favorite one. Okay, here's how I disarm, so you can ask a clean question and open it up. Okay, so I just go. Honestly, you know, I gotta be sure. I usually lose some people here. It gets too complex and too technical. So you usually have to clarify a bunch of things. So I kind of wanted to ask you, like, where did I lose you here? So what you want to do is you'll use I lose most people here. So if you get to something technical, complex, or something like that, you could say, I lose a lot of people here. So don't worry, you're not the first. So I kind of asked you, like, where did I lose you, or maybe cause up a couple questions for you. Like, you're basically saying, like, bro, it's okay, just tell me. Most people get lost or confused here because it's too technical or too geeky or too this. What's going through your head? Where did I lose you? And then they're like, "Ah, well, I kind of don't understand. So how do you actually get the, and now you're having a real conversation with them.
Yeah.
Because now it gives me opportunity to flush out objections, raise their certainty. So it's way easier for me to close.